Grammy-nominated platinum-selling artist is calling for a release of the 5 remaining American hostages held by Hamas, penning a thought-provoking op-ed in the Wall Street Journal to bring the crisis back to the headlines. John Ondrasik, who performs as 5 for Fighting, writes, "Why isn't America's heartland painted yellow with ribbons tied around trees, mailboxes, and light posts, like in 1979? He goes on to write, that would let hostages and their families know they haven't been forgotten. Well, John Ondrasik says there's been a tradition of musicians speaking truth to power, and he says he's one of them. He joins us now. Good morning, John.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So what motivated you to write this op-ed, and what's the message that you hope people hear from it?
Well, I actually had the opportunity to go to Israel a few months ago, actually the night that Iran attacked, and perform my new song, OK, and my song, Superman, for many of the hostage families, the state of Israel. And of course, when you talk to hostage families, there are no words, your heart just breaks. But as mentioned, I'm old enough to remember 1979. I was a young kid, but I remember the yellow ribbons. I remember the hostage crisis led the nightly news every night. But the hostage families feel forgotten. That's because they have been. They've been forgotten by the media. Certainly the president rarely mentions their names, though I was very happy to see the RNC start their convention with a prayer, not just for our hostages, but for every hostage. Right. They're Americans. They're our fellow Americans, and they're being held by terrorists. Why is that not bigger news? Why are we not all tying yellow ribbons around our trees? I think that's something we all need to think about.
Yeah, it's a simple thing we could all do. You're absolutely right. You know, news surrounding the remaining hostages, it's kind of been lost a little bit, hasn't it? Or lost a lot in this news cycle that's being dominated by Trump and Biden. How challenging is it to keep this story alive? And why do you think it's so important that it's not just going on and that behind the scenes we've got America trying to get these hostages back, but, you know, that we're all thinking about them as well?
Well, I hope we're trying to get them back. Certainly Israel had a miraculous operation that rescued 4 of their hostages. But you wonder, is America exploiting their resources? You know, it seems that we can't even put a counter sniper on a sloped roof. So, and even if we were, would Joe Biden approve the operation? Certainly the world has gone mad. And yes, we're consumed with, especially after Saturday and the assassination of Trump, the election. But this has been going on for months. They've been hostage almost 300 days. Americans held hostage by terrorists. Why are they not on the face of every broadcast? And I speak to them. I speak to Rachel Goldberg. They are so desperate just to be recognized. So I think if everybody kind of sits back and thinks about the fact of what these families are going through, and I think it reflects on our culture, right? That our hostages have never been kind of front and center. So I think we all should look at ourselves and ask ourselves, who are we anymore? Of course, you see the terrible people ripping down posters and the mobs, but we have to stand up to that. And the first way we stand up to that is to call for our hostages to be front and center and call for their release and demand that not only Hamas let them go, but Iran let them go, because that is truly the people who are holding our hostages.
Yeah, that's who's behind them, right? Well, I know the families are really thankful to you and everything that you're doing. You can check out John's op-ed in the Wall Street Journal. Thanks so much.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.